We have a ton of tech news to go over. Some really big stuff. I've actually looked on my Discord here and realized there was actually a lot of chatter over Microsoft saying they might replace the start button with Copilot AI. Oh, man. Okay, so I'm usually the doomsdayer of Microsoft. So to see that, I was like, man, that's even worse than my predictions. We'll definitely have to take a dive into that article, among other things that have popped up on the net, which I went ahead and favorited some other stuff about web, Reddit kind of closing things off, some API access, some more stuff. We might get into that, and just some other stuff. NeoVim, I kind of want to touch on a little bit. I love NeoVim, and other creators have kind of made NeoVim videos, and I kind of want to explain like the gradual progression of NeoVim. Because a lot of people don't understand it and just use VS Code instead, and I still flip-flop back and forth between everything. And NeoVim's coming along. It's still my favorite, but I thought we might talk about that some more, and then maybe even touch on, well, Kick. I don't stream on Kick. I have a name reservation over there so people don't impersonate me. But there's some weird stuff with contracts going on, and specific requirements for gambling streams, which I thought we might touch on that too. And if there's something else in here that the chat wants to see, we're gonna do that, which would be great. Whew, it's gonna be a fun one today, though. Oh my gosh! And then also we have Winutil work as well. It's 8:51 in the morning. All right, it is not 8:51 in the morning. I don't know why, but my Windows still is on local time. Why by default is it on local time? Every single operating system in existence doesn't use local time except for Windows, and it's just aggravating to all get out. Like, why is that still a thing? Anyhow, I'm sorry. Everybody else just uses standard time, but whatever. Let's pull up Winutil. We do have 5 pull requests to go through on Winutil as well. Whew. Lot to get through today on this glorious October 31st Halloween. You might be watching it after the fact, but hey, it's great. A lot of people, I think a lot of people are trying to get it in before Halloween later tonight. I think that's what's happening. That's what's going on with that. So I think we jump right into the news stories of the day and start going into it. Whew. What do we want to start with? Yeah. Maroon Hatter, you get to pick. What do we got? We got Making the Web Worse, a story about Reddit. We got TurboTax in the US, if we want to talk about how that shouldn't exist and the IRS is doing some stuff. That story's kind of boring. We got NeoVim progression and stuff. And then probably like the marquee story of the day, asked by the Discord Reddit, Mira over there requested this one. Microsoft may replace the start button with Copilot AI. That also is kind of an interesting story. Whew. Have you tried morss.it over 5 fingers? MRSS. I think I have. Yeah, I think I have tried this one, but the 5 fingers one does a little bit better job because I don't get rate limited at all. And I think on this one, it just didn't give me quite as much because the 5 fingers I self-host. I don't pay 5 fingers anything. I just use a Docker container for culling all those stories. Yeah, the Copilot thing is probably the biggest story of the day. Yeah, and that's the thing, Joker, is, when I look at this, guys, I look at and that takes pretty hot, but what made me switch to Linux was not Linux. Linux to me wasn't very attractive, and the open source community I always kind of thought was a little bit weird, which they are. It was Microsoft's constant pushing of updates, and a lot of the stuff I just really didn't like. Microsoft's really the reason why I tried Linux desktop to begin with. So, that's kind of funny. And we are weird. Yeah. You don't want to be normal. You don't want to be just another normie. And proud of it. I love it. Oh, man. That's actually, it's funny. Like, some people, I don't think you can see it anymore, but on my wedding ring, On the inside, me and my wife had "Forever Weird" engraved, just as a joke. But I think I've worn it off. This thing's seen some beating over the last 20 years. Oh man. All right. So that's probably the hottest news story of the day. That came from the Discord. That was a great one. Oh my gosh. I absolutely love that. That's gonna make for a great video. Snow Puppy, thanks for the Prime. I'm planning on building a desktop to run Hyperland on Arch with GPU pass-through that you showed off. I'm planning on a Ryzen 7800X 3D for the CPU. Solid CPU choice. But do you have any GPU recommendations? Ooh, probably the 7800 XT is pretty good for an AMD chip. Or if you want to go top end, what was it? The 7950 XT is pretty good too. I like, if you're going to go with Linux and that's going to be your jam, you have to go AMD graphics. 100% Snow. You can't dilly-dally in the NVIDIA space. It's just going to end in heartache and aggravation and certain things. Not that you can't get it working, but you're going to just have a much easier time with AMD graphics. And that's why I love that. So I would do probably that, or if you're passing through the GPU, that's when you can go NVIDIA, because NVIDIA is still top dog in most of the performance benchmarks. So if you're passing through an NVIDIA chip, and you're using, I think that 7800 XT has dedicated graphics. If you're not doing any Linux gaming, you could just use it for, you know, the APU on it, and just use that for terminal and your basic function, basic operating system, and then pass through like the 4070 or 4080 and pass that through to your PCI pass through would be a really good setup as well. So it depends on how you want to do that. I personally still love to game in Linux, so I have 2 GPUs that I would use. I'm a bit cheaper and I kind of scrounge together my stuff. So last time I did that setup specifically, Hyperland Arch with the GPU pass-through I showed off, I was using 5600X with a 5700 XT AMD GPU for the main job, and I don't think the 5600X doesn't have an APU like the 7800 X3D does, so I couldn't just drop the GPU. That, and I also like to game in Linux when I can. And then for the Windows PCI pass-through, I was using a 2060 NVIDIA card. So absolutely love that. That's a good, probably what I would recommend for everything on that Snow. I installed Twitch just to catch you live. All right, man. Well, welcome. What are your thoughts about PC tuning customization? Thanks for the tier 1, Mr. Gain. PC tuning customization. I think a lot of people don't do it right. It's fun, but think of it like a hobby, almost. Like, if you don't enjoy tuning and customizing your computer, I don't know if it's worth it for you, because you're going to spend a lot of time to get probably single-digit returns. So it's not worth it for most people unless you're really into it. And when I think of tuning customizations, we're talking like messing with I'm trying to think. There's some BIOS settings that you can do to look at the timings on there, and that can be really interesting, especially when it comes to Windows. There's a lot of tricky things with CPU scheduling, timing, and a lot of tinkering that can go on with that to ink out some extra performance. But do I think everyone should do it? No. I think some people can do it, but it's just not something that I would recommend for like an average gamer. For an IT professional or someone that really enjoys that stuff, yeah, it's definitely cool and worth doing, but it just depends on you as a person. Oh, yeah, no, you're not. Appreciate that, Viking. Sometimes I need a friendly reminder. I need to get the mobile friendly going for christitus.com. I keep forgetting about that. That's so good, Tex. Yeah, the humble beginnings in the living dining room. Oh, I love it, man. Well, now I'm in the garage. What do we got? Let's look at the PC tuning in this. I'm kind of curious. Guidance configurations for this. 400 stars, actually not bad on the stars. Notorious for bloatware, third-party telemetry, excessive context switching, interrupts, and I.O. I like it. That's a good rationale. What is he doing? Physical setup. Let's look at the physical setup. Benchmarking, controlled environment, variable sample size, reproducibility, tools, PC latency. This is the one thing, if you're going to do a lot of tuning on your PC, always have all the results before you start tuning. Like, run all your benchmarks, make sure you have really good, and run them like a couple times so you have a good average before you start tinkering. And that way you know for a fact, hey, this improved my system, not made it worse. Because a lot of people mess up and immediately just jump in and go, I need to tune my system without having that base. So back up, run your benchmarks, and then start tinkering. That's the big thing, especially with Windows. It can get finicky, to say the least. All right, so we have physical setup. What are we doing? So this is all just basic knowledge on building a computer. Avoid daisy chaining power cables anywhere. That's a good idea. Tape the ends of loose power cables to reduce the risk of short-circuiting components. I don't think I've ever had this happen. But honestly, I zip tie everything up, so it's not going to be clanking around in there at all. Favor short and shielded cables. I think a lot of people could go and buy custom cables with like a fully modular power supply. The big thing I would say that kind of takes care of almost all of this is buy a good case, buy a good power supply. Too many people cheap out on both those things and you will regret it. Getting a good case will improve the life of your system and the build quality because you have proper channels for cable runs, and you'll have really good airflow, which improves the life of the system. So good case, good fully modular power supply, preferably like a platinum version of the power supply. Don't go with like silver 80 or something like that. That would be bad. Clean the pins and connectors of components. Yeah, I guess. I don't think I've ever done that either, but I think that could be a good thing, especially if you're in a really dusty environment. Let's see, partition style you're using. You should switch now because some lists in the BIOS section depend on partition style. Yeah, nobody should be using BIOS anymore. Like, that's, I don't even think, does Windows 11 even, I don't think, no, you have to do UEFI on Windows 11 and above. Almost every Linux install now is written for UEFI in mind, so you should only be doing GPT, UEFI. You should never see MBR anymore, or legacy boot. So you should never have to enable like legacy old standard boot on any system. The only time I ever see MBR and legacy anymore is sometimes in like virtual machines. So be careful of that. That's good advice. BIOS section on the Windows used. Okay, weird. Cooling. All right, let's see what we got for cooling. Remove the side panels of your case and consider an open bench setup. I guess if you're doing like overclocking and stuff, I don't really. But again, I'm not like a Jay's 2 cents. We need some clarification here from before what I'm about to say, so people don't get mad at me. Jay and a lot of other people out in the space that do considerable overclocking and tuning, they make works of art. They're like almost artists. And for me, I would much rather have stability and reliability and reproducibility because I come from more of a business background. So for me, when I make a system, it needs to run for a minimum of 5 years without me doing anything from a hardware perspective. So everything is closed, and typically I have neutral airflow where the intake fans equal the outtake fans. So I usually always have neutral airflow, and then I just set it up and I use high quality fans because the bearings in those cheapo $10 fans always wear out. So you always want like Noctua or Be Quiet fans are good too. I mean, pick your poison there, but I don't like open bench setups at all, but again, I don't like overclocking either because I use my systems for extended periods of time. It's just one of those things. Use high quality thermal paste. I agree with that. Avoid tower and air coolers due to limited cooling. Okay. Mount your AIO cooler properly. Yeah, I could definitely see that. That's if you're gonna go the AIO route. AIO is good for making a quiet system. That's what I use AIOs for, because if you don't want to do like a closed loop setup and or an open loop, you know, where you're constantly like actually bending the pipe and doing all that stuff with like a reservoir and all that business. I don't want to mess with any of that. So I might use an AIO where sound matters in my environment. Like what we're in right now, my computer's right behind me about 5 or 6 feet, and sound makes a big difference. So I will always opt for whatever's the quietest. For me right now, I'm using a 5700 XT GPU, and I absolutely hate it because it's so damn loud. It goes up to like 50 decibels under full load, which is not good. But anyways, small side rant there. Use non-RGB fans with high static pressure. Oh, this one, this one right here is gold. Oh my gosh, here, let's. Oh no, that's still ugly. That one needs to be like ultra highlighted. I love this one. Oh geez, can I not find a good? What about red? Blue? Nope, can't read it. Still can't read it. I guess purple's about the best we can get. That is probably my biggest thing. I absolutely 100,000 degrees. Anything non-RGB immediately makes your system faster. It's just facts. The uglier it looks, probably the better it'll run. I'm still having PT. I still have to send it in. I haven't gotten on the phone with Corsair yet. I will, though, one of these days. Still having PTSD from my RGB RAM that went out. Oh my gosh. Remove the heatsink and RAM and mount a fan over it using cable ties. Wait, what? Sure not to overload the motherboard fan header. That's good. Don't use splitters. I'm 100% against using splitters on motherboards. That's just 3-way 4-pin splitters shouldn't exist. Even 2-way, I'm still kind of against. I really hate CPU fan splitters or like regular chassis fan splitters. It's just a recipe for problems to happen. So if you're having a problem and you don't have enough ports on your motherboard to make all your fans run, go buy like a fan. God, I can't think of the name. It's like a fan hub basically, but you can plug everything in and it's powered by either a SATA cable or Molex, and that would be so much better. So don't do that. That's just bad. Oh man. Remove the heatsink from your RAM and mount a fan over it using cable ties. I've never heard of this. I can't really speak to the validity of it, but it's just weird. Remove the heatsink from your RAM and mount a fan over it using cable ties. How do we feel about that? That seems weird. What do we think, chat? Yeah, no. I mean, how many people are going to damage their system removing the heatsink from the RAM, and then you're putting a fan over it? Like, I'm just thinking. Like, take this bad piece of RAM I have. I guess you could pry off this? Man, that seems just like a terrible idea. That just seems like an awful idea. And cable ties mounting a fan with cable ties just seems straight up terrible and super jank. Okay. Just have good airflow. See, that's what I'm at. That one's right there. I would skip this part because I was like, whoa. That seems crazy. Use an M.2 with a heatsink. Yeah, 100%. M.2s get really hot. A lot of people don't realize they can get... I think they get thermal throttled, too. If you don't have proper... Good airflow typically will take care of all of that. But more often than not, you should have a heatsink on your M.2 regardless. And you can add them after the fact, because a lot of, I think like the Samsung 960s don't come with heatsinks. So adding a little heatsink for $1 or $2 off of Amazon is worth doing. So definitely adding a heatsink 100%. Mount a fan over VRM, CPU backplate. Okay. Storage devices, PCH, network interface, and other hotspots. I don't know what his obsession with mounting a fan. I guess because he's doing it in an open air setting with an open bench setup. If you have a really good case and you have really good airflow, you don't need any of this. It'll just take care of itself. That seems, a lot of this just seems kind of crazy. So I think some of this advice comes from the fact he's doing open bench. But again, that's another one where I'm like, okay, that's weird. Replace stock thermal pads with higher quality ones. I've seen this actually on GPUs. Like my 5700 XT that I just bitched about it being too loud. I literally think I should rip that thing apart, replace the thermal pads, and maybe even look to see if there's an aftermarket fan for the 5700 XT. Maybe I can get it quieter, reduce those thermals. Even 10 degrees would be huge. It would help with a lot of the noise that I get. Repaste GPU due to factory application of thermal paste and inadequate replace. I've run into this a lot, actually. The factory application of thermal paste is pretty poor across the spectrum of GPUs, so this actually I would agree with. I would even go a step further than this for laptop users. Laptops are probably where I've seen it the worst. I usually can get another 10 degrees Celsius by just reapplying good thermal paste to a laptop. You'd be shocked at how bad the application of thermal paste in laptops, and since it's in such a condensed area, you can usually see massive improvement for that. So not only GPUs, but I would apply that to laptops as well. It's one of those things. Consider replacing the stop PSU fan and connecting it to the motherboard fan hub or hub. I'm not 100% on that. That doesn't seem like a good idea, because people are going to do it wrong. And the PSU fan, depending on the power supply unit, sometimes they have, that doesn't turn on at all because there's not enough power going through it to produce any kind of heat. So now you're just adding a fan, and why would you put it on the fan header? You still want kind of like some kind of interior. I don't understand this one. This one's a kind of a weird one too. Right? Has anybody ripped out their PSU fan and connected it to their motherboard? That sounds stupid. Yeah. Okay. So that's right too. Yeah, no. That's not a thing. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's what I'm like. Wow, this is strange. Who wrote this up? Yeah, there's some weird stuff in here. I think the big thing was removing like heatsink from your RAM, removing the PSU fan. Don't do that. That's just terrible. Mounting this fan over the VRM CPU bracket just seems kind of odd. Nothing. I wouldn't say it's wrong. I just think it's unnecessary. I think that's just kind of meh. Not gonna get much there. Minimize interference. All right, let's keep moving through this. Move devices and produce interference such as radios, cell phones, and routers to have potential increased latency due to unwanted behavior of electronic components. Radios, cell phones, and routers. I don't think I've ever had any of that reduce the speed of my computer. I mean, that's like, hey, let's go get some tin foil and make a hat. I don't know on that one. That seems like some hippy dippy BS for me, but okay. All right. Always favor wired over cordless. 100% agree with that one. Whew. Ensure that there's a moderate amount of space between all cables to reduce risk of coupling. Okay, yep. Usually, again, a good case that has proper cable runs and fully modular PSU. You don't have cables spilling everywhere. And even if you want to go a step further, getting custom cable runs will help a lot with almost all of the stuff we've been talking about. And that's always a good idea. Disconnect unnecessary devices from your motherboard. Yep. Such as LED, RGB strips, front panel connectors. I mean, I don't know. I kind of like having the front panel connectors there. I don't like to lean on them very much, but having them connected just is nice. USB devices, unused device drives, sure. Okay, yeah, minimize things. That's good. USB layout. I don't know enough really to speak to this. I haven't really messed around with the XHCI controller. Oh, we got a new 23H2. You guys want to upgrade the Windows? It's just been released. Can we just update from settings? Let's look. Let's go Windows Update. Oh lordy, I don't want to do that update. Let's just install these and see what happens. Pause and unpause. Okay, we can try it. We'll let it install in the background and then we'll pause, unpause. Configuring peripherals. High DPI reduces latency. Use the highest DPI possible for sensor smoothing. Okay. Pointer speed. I could see that being a thing. I never really messed with it that much. Higher polling rates reduces jitter. Alright. USB output is limited to 7 amps. RGB requires unnecessary power. Turn off lighting effects and strips. Again, RGB makes your stuff run smoother. Run slower. Alright, air dust blower for sensor lens, factory reset. BIOS modifications. Let's see what he has here. Oh, lordy. This is going to be interesting. I'm sure he's having the Spectre meltdown and CPU microcode. I bet you has it disabled. Roll back the microcode on the BIOS level if possible. Yeah, so almost every tuning guide is going to tell you to disable this these mitigations. Just because it does affect the newer chips, not so much, but the older chips for sure. It just depends. Resizable bar requires GPT UEFI above 4G decoding. Consider using rebar UEFI to enable it on unsupported systems. Verify resizable bar status in GPU Z. Let's see. Do we have that in here? I do not. Let's see what we got. Let's just install it. It's kind of interesting. Like a lot of these guides, you know, even if you see like a guide by me, take it with a grain of salt. Always, never blindly follow a guide, especially YouTube, or anything you see online, or even GitHub in this instance. Don't just blindly accept that as fact. And that's the big thing I want to take away here. There's a lot of things in this guide I do agree with, but there's also some stuff that I think is just straight up dangerous and people really should not mess with it because it's not going to really net you any extra performance and it's going to open you up to possibly breaking your system. So that's why some of this stuff I'm like, don't do it. Just no. All right, what do we have? Do we have resizable bar on the system? Does it show in GPU-Z? Let's see here. Resizable bar is enabled. Okay, yeah. So we do have resizable bar enabled. That's kind of cool. Good way to look it up. Thought we'd go ahead and try. Reset all settings to default. Option. Work with a clean state. I highly recommend this. So if you're an AMD user, CPU user, you have to update your BIOS. So always get the latest update of BIOS, but don't think that you need to just update the BIOS and then leave. Always reset to optimal settings or default settings and then make your modifications after. Because more often than not, when BIOSes get upgraded, sometimes features get moved around and it's good to just do a reset and then set it up again. So anytime you upgrade your BIOS, I highly recommend doing a default settings and then make your settings after the work. That's actually a really good point. I don't know if it's said in that manner, but that's my takeaway from that. AMD users absolutely should be updating their BIOS and then afterwards reset it and then do your custom settings. Disable hyper-threading and multi-threading if you have enough CPUs for your real-time application. Huh, never seen that recommendation. Can't speak to it because I can't say I've ever done it. Seems like a bad idea. More often than not, hyper-threading and multi-threading come into a big effect. I can think of any virtual machine work, which I do a lot of. So for me, this would be just a terrible idea. For you, maybe not. If you're just gaming, maybe, and the game doesn't really utilize hyper-threading and multi-threading, possibly. But again, I don't know. That seems weird. Limiting C state, P states, T states, S states to a minimum and disabling them completely. I would never disable them completely, but there are times where you might think of changing them from instead of it switching from a power save to like be performance all the time. I think that's can be a good thing on like a desktop. I wouldn't mess with this at all on a laptop though. Laptops really do need to clock down and use like a power saver mode. Otherwise, you're just going to burn up that battery, and not good at all. Disable SMV mode, IOMMU. Cause more latency for memory access. Well, that's fine if you're not using any VMs. But if you are using VMs, these are going to be enabled. Because you can't really virtualize for anything if you don't have these enabled. Interesting. Alright. Man, I don't think I could ever become like a... I don't think I'd ever want to be a YouTuber that does hardware reviews. It would just drive me crazy. Alright, let's go resume. See if it's able to pick up the 23H2. Let's see if we get the new Windows version. No go. Well, let's see if it's on their website. We can also force it through here. 23H2, download. Hey, there it is. So if you can't download it, and a lot of times there's no rhyme or reason to the built-in update in Windows 11, we can just grab the install assistant, run it here, and a lot of times it will check. Sure. We'll get the security. I removed it at some point in time. Just gonna check the health, aka add a whole bunch of telemetry onto my system that I probably have disabled. Alright. I'm signed in, remember, storage. Alright. We should be nice and healthy. So if you come back here, refresh to see if it is. Use the PC. Okay. We did that. PC health. Check now. Alright. Cool. We're good to go. Right? Refresh. Alright, here we go. Accept and install. Here we go. Up to 23H2. What's this give me? Probably a bunch of Copilot BS. Is there any way to get the good old Arrow theme in Windows 11? I'm sure. Not very many people like the Arrow theme. I'm surprised that's a request. We'll let this download. Here, we'll toss up old chat here on the left side. See about our verifying and install process of 23H2. The new Paint and Photos got good new features. A lot of people still love Paint. I don't know why. I like GIMP. Foss for the win, but I don't know. I've grown to love it, although the latest update kind of drives me crazy, so we'll see how long I stick with GIMP. Until all my scripts stop working in GIMP. That's how I do all my thumbnails. Oh man, I remember Paint.net. Yeah, I've always used Paint.net for basic edits. Now, I grew to, like, I originally hated GIMP, but I forced myself to use it for like 2 months straight. And I've gotten to the point where I'm faster in GIMP than any other photo editor. So I just install GIMP on everything and just use it for all my thumbnails for various YouTube channels now. And I've gotten pretty good. I will say I started using a lot of AI generation for backgrounds, and it's just, that's amazing. That's where AI is really kind of awesome, especially when you're looking at stable diffusion. Dude, I'm telling you, you can really get some amazing backgrounds, and you just throw my ugly mug on there, and then whatever the topic of the day is with a really engaging background, click-through rates have doubled since I started doing all AI-driven backgrounds. Addicted to Clip Studio Paint. It's just too good. Really? Clip Studio Paint. Who was it? Theo Joe?
Hi
Theo
guys,
Joe's
welcome
usually
to
on top of it.
TechBased.
Oh no!
In this video, we're going to talk about Windows 11 23H.
What is it? How to upgrade and install. What were the new features?
So shout out to him. So now let's talk about new features. Of course, Windows 11 version 23H2 includes all the new features from the Moment 4 update for Windows 11 23H2 with the new File Explorer, new archiving formats, new taskbar functions, the new Copilot AI Assistant, and so on. But specific to 23H2, the chat is now Microsoft Teams 3 and is now pinned by default to the taskbar. And also, Microsoft is doing some changes to your applications under all apps on the start menu. Windows 11 system labels will now show a system label, and they also created a separate page for system components inside settings, system, and system components. And this is basically all there is to it to Windows 11 23H2. Basically, this is just a
pretty basic. So we got Teams update,
a lot of new features, but of
course, some other stuff.
all
That's cool. We'll explore that. And let's look at that. That mention for Clip Studio Paint. I've never used it. Clip Studio Paint released. What type of interesting? Oh, it's paid. How much is it? Let's see. It looks like kind of Photoshop-y. Only $50. Well, that ain't bad. One-time purchase, no extra payments needed. Use 2.0 for unlimited time. Windows and Mac OS. I'd buy it if it had Linux on it. But there's no Linux, so I won't buy it. That's cool. Alright, well, I think we're done with PC tuning. I like the PC tuning adventure, though. That was fun to look at. I still use good old Photoshop 7 on my offline computer for basic photo editing. Heck yeah, Marie. I love it. Although, I will say, Adobe's kind of tempting me with a lot of their auto-fill this picture. So you can change, like, the ratio of a picture and just say, hey, fill all the blank space with what should be there. And it just fills it. That feature's kind of insane to me. And I gotta say, I'm a little envious. But not envious enough to give Adobe any money. Because screw Adobe. That's kind of where I'm at on that. But I will say, man, that's a cool feature, and I'm definitely tempted. That was oof. How's our install going of 23H2? Still rocking. All right, let's look at some of our why this is going in the background. Let's look at some of the. Oh, here we go. We got to update README. This should be pretty easy. He fixes a lot of my chicken scratch here. I still like giving credit to the issue. Or by executing. I don't like that change because I still like crediting. Oh no, there we go. Courtesy of the issue raised at. Okay, that's good. Because I was like, I don't want to remove anything. Like, I love when people contribute to projects and I see like an issue and then I can reference that issue to say, hey, thank you for bringing this to my attention. That way people get credit. Because a lot of the improvements in Winutil has come from users. Project needs a star from you. Don't forget to leave a star. To morally and mentally support the project, make sure to leave a star. That's pretty funny. I mean, I don't mind that change. This guy must be like an English major or something. What was the change here? I mean, that's fine. I approve. It's better worded. It's pretty funny. Let's squash and merge that. Is that on the main branch? No, it's on the test branch. Just making sure I'm not doing commits to the main. That's hilarious. Oh yeah. UUP dump, Pluto. Yeah, UUP dump's really good. There's a lot of actually batch scripts to grab ISOs for getting all the different versions. I want to say if you look at Rufus, which do I have Rufus installed? I think you can select. Go download, disk, and I think I need a device. Do I have a thumb drive around here? Yeah, I don't want to mess with it. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, usually there's a download option and you can actually go to the target system right here and it'll download the ISO for the latest version. I want to say they do use UUP dump. So just use Rufus and it'll download whatever version of Windows you want. It's kind of cool. I've used Photop before, online Photoshop. There's a lot of times people send me Photoshop stuff and I like to convert it to GIMP. So I'll go manipulate it with Photop and then switch it over to like GIMP at my own, like download separate assets and break apart like a PSD. It's actually a good way to do it. Oh, welcome home, HGH. All right. Hey, where did our... Oh, there it goes. Still installing. All right. Replace the hard-coded pass for Windows directory. This should be test. And then let's go to changed files. Environment root, environment root, environment root. That's in WPF shortcut, gpedit home, and Winutil. That honestly wouldn't really mess with anything. I kind of dig it. Let's approve that. Change it all to the test branch and approve changes, squash and merge. I like those changes. Very basic. I love these commits that are real small and to the point. I'm surprised we haven't run into like a nuke the world commit yet. Micro win, remove telemetry. Oh, I spoke too soon. Oh no. I have a feeling on this one. Oh. Here we go. Well, I mean, actually, that's not so bad. Let's see about the theming. What are we doing here? Copy files. That's actually a whole brand new private. Micro win helper. What is happening here? Okay. Copy files. That's just a basic copy command. Get Winutil variables with a toggle button. Install Winutil winget. Actually, the best way to do this is just chocolatey. Using chocolatey install winget is actually a lot better than a lot of the other way. Not that I'm against this. He actually left it up here, which is kind of funny. And then what is this micro win helper? So we're doing a DISM, select dump features, printing, telnet, PowerShell, NetFX. So you're not selecting printing, telnet, PowerShell, or NetFX. If keep defender. This is kind of interesting. Now removing the packages, he's going to be removing application model, Windows client language packs, packages for service and stack, .NET. I'd have a problem with that. Stored, I'd have a problem with that. VC libs, definitely needed. Broker plugins, fine. You can get rid of it. Lock plugin, you could... Some people are going to want that. Some people are going to want the notepad. I don't know why, but there's people out there that want the new UWP notepad, Windows Store notepad. Immersive control panel. Content delivery manager. Sec health, that's going to be needed. Pinning. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here. I wouldn't want to strip all this out because inevitably this would break a lot of updates. I mean, they probably would re-download it. It'd probably be okay. UI XAML is absolutely needed for winget, so this would actually break winget packages. I like it though. I like the idea he had with this, and I like how it's presented. It just needs to be less aggressive. So probably not removing... There's a lot in here I'd remove from the remove. Here for provision packaging, I don't know why he would remove like DISM, but that's kind of interesting. Startup apps. Okay. Get ISO. Micro win. Not like is not an exclusion. It depends on the context here. We got some double negatives happening on some of these removes. For Titus Pi OS, probably here in a bit. Omega Text. I usually do a yearly refresh on Titus Pi OS. How do you zoom in on Thorium instead of increasing page size? Let's see. Is there a zoom command? Well, there's zoom right here, which is just the page size, and I think you can just do Control Alt and then zoom in. So not page size. So this is page size. You want like an accessibility zoom, right? What other tools does it have? I've never actually done the accessibility zoom. I've always just done the control zoom like that. Yeah, is it just control? Yeah, it's just control and scroll. Oh, he's using Windows Forms. That's funny. I'm not sure exactly what he's trying to accomplish here. It feels like there's a lot of overlap here. So removing Defender, removing Edge. We're still going on the... Microsoft just popped up and like, hey, by the way. Oh no, there it goes. We'll restart later. I'm not sure on this commit. I like how inclusive it is and how some of the stuff he's doing, but there's just far too much going on with the commit for me to accept it. Again, before I open this up, I was like, hey, I haven't run into a nuke the world commit yet. This seems like it changes far too much of the program for me to accept it. There's some things in it I just don't understand. It's neat though. I want to leave it open and maybe we look at some of the things he's done, because if we look back at the conversation, it does remove telemetry tracking, ability for local accounts. So if we look at that for the config portion, it's kind of neat. I'll think on it. I'll think on that. That one's going to require a little bit more of a look. All right. Well, we still got a couple more. Let's see what the other ones. Change Python version just to 3.2. Yeah, that's a basic improvement. Squash and merge. Confirm. On the test branch, what's the other one? Add programs to the install list. What ones are we looking at here? We are looking at... He did it incorrectly. That's okay. Let me go. Winutil.ps1 is the compiled file. The changes need to happen in applications.json, and the UI updates happen in XAML. What was the direct one? Just to let this guy know, I think it was XAML input XML. It's like, what was the word of that? Input XML. So let's just go. That happen in application JSON. Tweaks. Is it tweaks or config? Dude, you think I would know the structure? No, it's config. All right. There we go. Well, that's funny. It's cool. I love people actually wanting to add stuff to the thing, but yeah, this one was actually just needing changes. So we'll leave that and just say, hey, it's gonna need those changes to make that. So that's all the pull request for Winutil. Let's reboot and check out 23H2, shall we? You have a / oh, yeah. Maybe he's on Linux when he's doing those updates. / would be applicable. What can I say? I'm forward thinking. You gotta zoom in with a specific part of the page. Control scroll wheel increases the page size. Yeah. That makes sense. I'll look at that, Tush. Oh yeah, Pi 5. I think I'll grab a new Raspberry Pi 5 as soon as I can. I have all those, man. I still have all those Orange Pi 800s, man. I bought 11 of them. Man, I was really thinking. I don't know what I was thinking. All right, let's reboot. See the new 23H2. Is it gonna bomb this computer? That would suck. I guess I should have done an update. Oh, I should have backed up my system before I did this, but too late now. Yeah. Are they in service? No, they're all in the box. Originally, my plan was to make like a custom OS with the Orange Pi, and then do it from there. But instead, the Orange Pi ISOs that they submitted were kind of crap. So I was going to debloat them. And it just didn't work out. I didn't get around to it. So now I got 11 Orange Pi 800 sitting in the box, never been used. And, well, a couple of them I've kind of repurposed for different things, but I got to do something with those things. Because originally I was going to just do them and then sell them on the channel or do something with them. I don't know what my original thought process was. This is like a year ago when they came out. And there was the Raspberry Pi shortage. And I was like, oh, this would be great. Now there's no Raspberry Pi shortage. And now I got a bunch of Orange Pi 800s. Oh, well. Such is life. Sometimes you have ideas and they work out, and sometimes they don't. Maybe I'll still get it. Well, we might be sitting on this screen for a little bit. Let's pull up chat. I'm looking at making a custom OS from Linux from scratch. Oh, man, that'll be great. Sweet. Yeah, fun. Linux from scratch is a great project. How you will lab? All right. All right, here we go. Probably give it another reboot, huh? Oh, no. Yeah, usually Windows reboots at least 2 or 3 times. Let's see what the new changes are in 23H2. Do you have a Steam Deck? Oh, yeah. I have a Steam Deck and a Stream Deck. I always get those two mixed up between the Steam Deck and Stream Deck. I love my Steam Deck, though. The Steam Deck's an amazing piece of hardware. Because it was, when the Steam Deck came out, I was getting kind of burnt on Linux gaming because there's just so many, problems here and there that kept cropping up. And I'm like, man, that stinks. And then I was kind of negative Nancy about the whole Steam Deck. And then I was pleasantly surprised. I still use my Steam Deck every single day. Almost. I mean, it's just sitting right on my nightstand in there. I can't tell you. There's many times I'll just go in there and the wife will be watching something on TV, or maybe she's playing a game, and I just grab my Steam Deck, pop my little headphones in, and then lay back. I have a little backrest. I flip upside down and I just set the Steam Deck on top of it, and then, dude, it's such a great gaming experience. I am kind of blown away by that whole how cohesive it is, and it's such a, you don't have to worry about Windows updates. You don't have to worry about anything breaking, really. It's been just a seamless experience for the past year. Uh-oh. Armory crate. What? I thought I disabled that service. Huh. Alright, what version are we on? WinVer. We are on 23H2 now. How about that? Did it install Teams? Did it install Edge? No, I think Edge is still broken. Which, I broke Edge. So that's why I said that. Edge? Okay, yeah. It just reinstalled the shortcut, so... Hey! My uninstall of Edge still works. Great. What about Copilot? Did that fix Copilot? Copilot was broken on me. Oh no, my Copilot's still broken because Copilot relies on Edge. Alright, well, good to know. That didn't change anything. Well, let's look at the release notes of 23H2. Release notes. What's new? Copilot in Windows. I broke it because I removed Edge. Ability to go passwordless with Windows Hello. I think I broke that too. Kind of removed it. Ability to remove the option for password and device unlock. Okay. Enhanced firewall capabilities. Did they still change? Let's go wf.msc. Does that looks kind of the same to me. Maybe they have like a new firewall app in the settings menu. Nobody ever uses that in the professional sphere. They just type wf.msc and then just make their changes here. What else we got? Pointless. Greater control over the taskbar search experience. What? Using new policies. Okay, so they expanded group policy a little bit. Snipping tool enhancements. Nah, just use ShareX. It's better. Another few additional enhancements, such as the ability to ungroup icons and show labels on the taskbar for easy access. Oh, really? So we could just change taskbar settings? Show, display, I don't know. Combine taskbar and hide labels. What if we go never? Oh, okay. So then it kind of just shows what... Okay. I don't know if that was there or not. I feel like that was already there. Yeah, I already checked WinVer. It's 23H2. Okay. A seamless file explorer with native support for RAW files. This is the reason you do the update. Native RAR support. Do we have something in here? Let's see. Like maybe backups. Maybe I got a RAR file in here. Zip file. Zip file. Okay. Well, no, I don't. But native RAR support. That is worth it. Recommended websites in the start menu to each person's browser history. No way. Oh, yeah, that's right. I stripped all that out. I don't want it recommended in my browser history. And that's part of Edge. Edge is baking in. So Copilot's relying on Edge. The Copilot experience right here relies on Edge. So if you click on this, it's trying to open up Edge. The search experience is relying on Edge too. So that's why those things exist. So if you remove Edge, you lose all of that. Which, again, I'm kind of okay with. A new volume mixer to control the volume and output volume easily. This is something that needs to change. Ah, okay. It's not terrible. Can we... Huh. So what I do instead of that, I usually just go mmsys.cpl, and then I just grab the old version. I'm still stuck in Windows 7. To me, this is the best. The other versions kind of suck. So, I mean, it's cool they're still trying to improve it, but Windows 7 version was just light years ahead of anything they've developed in the past decade. Facts. Oh, man. All right, anyways. Ability to set up multi-app kiosk on Windows 11. Does anybody use like point of sale or kiosk in Windows 11? What kind of crackhead business would do such a thing? Most people would be at least using like Windows 10 for that. Hell, I think Windows 7 kiosks still are I don't even know if those are EOL yet. I know they have extended life because of their point of sale. So I want to say they're still supported even in 2023. It's kind of a weird hack. If you still want to get security updates on Windows 7, you could use like a kiosk or point of sale a lot of times. Anyways, it's interesting. No one cares. Federated sign-in. The main problem I have with a lot of like federated sign-in, Windows Hello, Azure AD Join, which is now called Microsoft Intra Join. The reason why they rebranded it, because us IT professionals know how absolutely atrocious Azure Active Directory truly is. And we were like, oh my god, Azure Active Directory, I'm out. Just give me a local domain. That's going to work, where Azure will just be gimped, and they're going to try and nickel and dime me for every single little tiny subscription per month. That is your typical IT professional looking at those. So now we're going to say the same thing for Microsoft IntraJoin. Who knows? Maybe they improved it to where it sucks less. I mean, it's a pretty low bar to get over. But it is Microsoft, so they probably made it worse. All right. So that's the sign-in improvements, apparently. Dev Drive, a new form of storage volume designed to improve performance for key developer workloads. Gain more control over storage volume settings, security, including trust designation, antivirus configuration. Oh, that's interesting. What is that? Oh, that's cool. You set up a special VHD. I kind of like that. I'm not going to shit on this one. I like that. That's actually a intuitive improvement. I'm going to say the RARs and File Explorer and Dev Drive are two features for 23H2 that are worthwhile. Everything else is just kind of fluff and meh, or no one's ever going to use that. That is my review of 23H2. Enjoy. Should you update? Hell no. You never update to a feature update. What are you? Would you rather have a functional PC, or you want to be a guinea pig like me? It's better just to have your computer work. Never update to the latest feature update unless you like breaking your PC. You choose. All right. That's pretty good. So now we know 23H2 is really two things. Dev Drive's kind of neat. I like that feature. 2, native RAR support in just basic File Explorer is kind of cool too. Are they needed? Do I recommend you upgrading? No, don't do that. That's crazy. That's just crazy. Stay on your old feature update as long as you can. That's always my recommendation. And a lot of these features will come in another update to 22H2. Yeah, very true, Dammy Killer. 100%. Windows Intra, a Spanish word, or that works, or is that an English word too? I don't know. Intra, I don't know what that means, Z80. Let's see. Intra meaning. It's a Latin preference. Present, active, infinite of intro. Okay, that's intrata. That's how do you pronounce it? Definition of intra per the dictionary. A main dish of a meal. The acting of entering. The power, permission, or liberty to enter. Admittance. Oh, that's entree. I don't know what Intra is. Microsoft Intra. Maybe they just made it up. Secure. What's the pricing? Yeah. So really what intra you got? It's kind of like halfway check marks. What's the halfway check mark means? That's some marketing bullshit right there. Partially included. Oh. Until you actually need something, let's get your whole business on there, and then we're going to screw you over with one little thing you can't access, and then we're going to get you for $6 every single user every single month. That's what I see with this. Oh, Lord. I know I'm kind of jaded, but I'm also not wrong. Come on in. Try our nice free version that has most of the stuff partially included. And then when you need something more, it's time to break out the checkbook. Hey, is there a utility that will auto set a static IP instead of configuring network interfaces? Do you not like setting network interfaces? I mean, I'm just asking because setting network interfaces is pretty easy, I think. Like, what's the hang up with that? Or do you want to just set it through PowerShell? So how I would set like a static IP, I'd do mpca.cpl, or no, oh my god, mpca.cpl. Why am I drawing a blank on this? Network control panel. No. Why am I? Oh, in Debian. Okay. It's like, oh, I was about to say it's pretty easy in Windows. For Debian for static IP, I think I probably would set that through etc network. Does this update break Winutil? That's a good question, Goat. Let's try it. Let's just give it a whirl. All right, we're loading up Windows Util. Let's install. What should we install? We got hardware info down there. Well, let's just do an update. Let's just upgrade all. Let's see what that does. We should see. Yeah, so we're good. So the update's working. Oh, okay. You always break it. I've never used a GUI tool for that, Sal. So I can't tell you or recommend you a GUI tool for it. Probably how I would do it if I wanted to do a static IP in Linux. Network Manager has a lot. It depends on your desktop environment, but Network Manager has a lot of cool little add-ins that could probably set a static IP fairly easily. So I would install Network Manager and have it do the network instead of just relying on like Network D or something. And then, because I think by default, Debian doesn't use Network Manager. I might be wrong with that. I want to say I set the static IP just using Network D or etc network. So I probably would install Network Manager, have it manage the network, and then I know Network Manager has a bunch of GUI tools for setting static IPs. That's probably my method of setting a static IP in Linux. Yeah, we're going to try the tweaks next after this install. We're just updating, I guess, Visual Studio a little bit and a few other things. Yeah, that's how I've always done it, D4. etc network interfaces. Used to use in NMTUI. Yeah, that's Network Manager TUI for network settings back when I was learning. That's a good one, Ghost. I probably should look at that too. Does WSL support gaming? No. You don't want to be doing gaming through WSL. That's a bad idea. I mean, you could do WSLG and probably like TuxCard or something, but why? You're much better off just doing it natively on the system. Yeah, I mean, you could run basic Linux games on Windows using WSLG if you wanted, because a lot of the Linux games don't require a big overhead, but just know you are sacrificing some performance going through WSL. Not much. Almost like WSLG is pretty darn good, but it's still some. I've run like Kden Live and some a little bit heavier applications through it. Why do I still have TeamViewer installed here? Ugh. Get out of here, TeamViewer. Yeah. I'm just gonna uninstall that. I was like, why is TeamViewer still there? I never use TeamViewer anymore. Pretty much moved over to like AnyDesk. You could also use some other ones too, depending on what you're remoting in as. There's a lot of options there. Oh, basic, like using protein on... No, you don't... Oh... Why would you be wanting to go through WSL to play a Windows? Proton's a DirectX emulation layer a lot of times. So you're like... Or a compatibility layer for what... That's what Wine is, which is what Proton is. So you'd be emulating Windows through an emulated version of Linux to make a Windows program work you could run native. That seems crazy. What program will you choose to run Linux in a virtual machine in Windows? VMware is still probably one of the top that I would choose. Hyper-V is not bad. If you have like a pro version of Windows, you could install Hyper-V. I do recommend changing like the CPU scheduling. I think that's still a recommended optimization to make Hyper-V a bit quicker. Because in Windows 10, I want to say, and obviously it carries over to Windows 11, they changed some of the CPU scheduling to a less than optimal version for Hyper-V. Don't take that as like gospel. That's just, I remember one thing back in Windows 10 I remember doing, and Hyper-V may have fixed that since. But yeah, that's what I think Pluto's. I've always done the BCD edit and putting the hypervisor scheduler type classic. Yeah, and that's always netted the best performance when using Hyper-V. Maybe eventually they'll fix it, but I don't know. It does seem like they're kind of walking a little bit away from Hyper-V. It doesn't allow you to allocate more than 2 cores. Man. All right. Okay, so if you are still limited by 2 cores, definitely set it the hypervisor scheduler to classic. Good to know. I've always just done it as just like habit ever since Windows 10. QEMU through WSL. Run like Vert Manager or something. Oh my gosh. Nested. I mean, it probably would work, but man, it'd be atrocious. You did Docker Mac OS through WSLG. I mean, that's kind of impressive. Yeah, that's the whole reason I love Chatterino, is it grabs the Discord emotes. And also, I think it also grabs some of the Twitch emotes too. How we doing? All right, so we got our packages update. Obviously, that portion works. Let's just do... We'll do delete temp files, disk cleanup. We got our dark theme. Anything else? Set time to UTC. Remove OneDrive. Do we even have OneDrive? I don't think I have OneDrive enabled. And I think that's pretty good. There we go. Let's run it. Creating our store point. Oops. Yeah, probably remove Edge too, if we wanted to go that route. I still don't recommend people using Edge or removing Edge, because any Microsoft product has Edge dependencies. So like Visual Studio relies on WebView 2. Copilot's using Edge. You can see our widgets came back. Oh lordy, what happened there? They sure do want to push them widgets. Okay, so it looks like it went ahead, set all those variables. Most of these variables probably didn't get touched. Maybe a few got touched with the 23H2. Anytime you do a feature update, you should probably run this, and I think we're good. Probably what we could do is take this. Let's see the remove edge and see what that does. Should launch into that utility. Everybody's playing horror games. Oh, I probably should play some horror games. Probably Alan Wake, right? My wife's been playing Alan Wake too. She was a huge fan of the original, so I know that's what she loves. All right, I think we're good. 23H2 in a nutshell. Looks like a pretty minor update, actually. We got our WinVer here. How many tasks we have? This will tell us how bloated it is. What do we got? CPU. 193 tasks. Okay, let's see if that cuts down on reboot. It might have adjusted all the... let's see if it adjusted the tasks at all. I wouldn't imagine the service is getting affected by the feature update, but sometimes Microsoft does like to tinker, so let's see. Oh, FNAF. Yeah. My son said the movie was actually pretty good. The new Five Nights at Freddy. He said it was surprisingly good. Like, they went in with pretty low expectations, and yeah. They said, man, surprisingly not cheesy. All right, here we go. Let's see, what do we got on memory usage and CPU usage? Oh, yeah. So it did rebloat. Okay. Yeah, so definitely rerun the Winutil toolbox. That's excessive though. Maybe thorium running in the background caused a lot more processes because I had a web browser up. Man, it was at 190 something. Let's see how many processes thorium launches. I have a bunch of extensions though. I mean, even with thorium going in the background, we're still only at 150. That's pretty bad. If we drop it, yeah, all those kill, and it's back down to 120. Damn. That is that's some bloat. All right. Well, yeah, no, the toolbox still works on 23H2. That was a good test. I appreciate you in chat letting me know about it. We worked through all the pull requests over there. What's our issues look like on Winutil? Yeah, I think inevitably. I mean, I'm gonna still work on Winutil, like till I can, till I just can't anymore. But I think, there's still such a huge demand for Windows user wanting a sane experience. I'm really kind of itching to get into Windows 12, judging by everything we talked about today, like them removing the start menu and saying you have to use Copilot. I can't wait to see what that looks like because, man, that is a gold mine for fixing. Like, everyone's gonna want the fix for Windows 12 start button. Like, ugh, that's gonna be amazing. So yeah, I can't wait for Microsoft to completely screw that up and for me to come back and fix it. So by no means, when I started the stream, I was showing that I'm kind of looking forward to it. Yeah. And Windows 8 all over again. Yeah, Marie, that's exactly what I said. Except it's worse because at least Windows 8, it was a start screen that was kind of like just a giant start menu. This is, you have to inquire the Copilot AI to open the application, or the application will be brought into a Copilot workspace. That sounds so awful. I'll make it. I already talked about it on stream, but I'm gonna snip that. That's gonna definitely be the next video I put out on Titus Tech Talk because holy crap. Talk about a complete disaster. But yeah, that'll be a fun one to fix. But this did go pretty well. How's our issues? Any crazy issues popping up? PC tuning options, again, there's gonna be a lot of tweaks in here and stuff people mention. He probably didn't run as admin. Proper languages by itself can't. Yeah, it means you kind of have to do region. A fix for Winget without chocolatey. That's a good idea. Add application. Yeah, most of this is pretty easy. If you're unfamiliar, like there's a lot of Winget issues submitted through this past week or so. A lot of the patches from Microsoft, especially I think 22H2 and 23H2, Winget was installed incorrectly and doesn't work out of the box. It's like halfway installed. So someone at Microsoft screwed up, and if you go on here and you launch like just terminal and you do like Winget list, instead of like listing all applications or just Winget and just getting this type of thing, like let's go show, or actually I think we can go list installed. I can't remember. Installed, I think it was. Or let's see. Anyways, whenever you're querying the Winget stuff, a lot of times it would just die and it just doesn't spit anything out. It shows that the command exists and it's there, but it just is missing a dependency, and Windows is like, I don't know what to do. And that's on a fresh install. We did it on one of the past streams and kind of talked about Microsoft breaking Winget out of the gate. The easiest way to fix it I could find was just to do a Coco install Winget. Use Chocolatey to fix Winget, which is kind of funny. Yeah, I mean, it would be really interesting if Windows ever, or Microsoft ever really ran into adoption. They could just release a very minimal version of Windows and people would love it. Like a debloated version of Windows that just had Windows installed with nothing else, stripped down, bare minimum, like less than, 60, 70 processes running, Microsoft sanctioned, they would make a killing. Everyone would love that version of Windows. Everyone would use it. Instead, they just keep bloating it up with more features, more features, more features, more and more and more. And I'm like, man, that's not what people want. They just want a sane experience where they can just install the programs they want to use, not all Microsoft's garbage. They just want a functional operating system. And Microsoft could literally capture 99% of the market share if they would just do that. But they won't. I don't know why. It's such a simplistic solution that everyone would love. Like, you would even capture back most of your Mac market share that you lost. Mac stole 10% of Windows market share. And they could easily capture all those people back if they would just make sane defaults with not all the shenanigans. It's kind of funny. Yeah, you could also update it through the Windows Store. That's a good point, Yaz. Yeah, if you go in the Windows Store, sign into your Microsoft account, type winget, and install it again, winget works again. That's a good point. That's another good way to do it. A lot of people don't want to use the Microsoft Store or sign into Microsoft account. That's why I always do the chocolatey version, just because it'll always work no matter what version you're on. So it's there. I mean, honestly, from a money standpoint, the more adoption they could get, I think the more money they would make as well. That's the crazy part about all this, is it would be in their best interest, I think, long term, but it's hard to see that. I think a lot of times, they get high on their own supply, so to speak, and they're thinking everything they make is just gold, when like 10% of it is. But some of their products are very good, and some of their ideas are genuinely good. It's just there's too much of them and too much bloat that your average user just doesn't care. How would they collect users' data? I mean, you could still make a de-bloated version and steal people's data. I mean, that's not actually that resource intensive. So I imagine they could totally do that. I mean, even when I strip out most of the telemetry, there's still things they're going to contact with Microsoft servers, and there's still some basic telemetry there. So you can still definitely take users' data, and especially with like the Edge browser, that is a great, and that may be why they bundle everything with Edge, because they want everyone using Edge. So in that regard, I get it. Yeah, the VS Code sync over different platforms. I agree with that, Plutos. Microsoft account, I think, yeah. Although, no, for VS Code sync, I think I use GitHub. So I don't use my Microsoft account for anything. A lot of people have contacted me like, hey, you doxed yourself on stream. It showed the Microsoft account in your settings. And I'm like, I mean, go for it. I mean, even if you get into that Microsoft account, there's nothing there. I don't use the email associated with it. I don't use any of the crap that's on it. There might be some like old licenses on it, like maybe some Office 2013, but have it. I don't use any of those anymore. So if you want to hack my Microsoft account, I don't care. It's just like, man, that was cool though. That was lovely. It was a lovely stream. I think we got through a lot. Tons of news stories. We got through some Winutil updates and PR merges. We looked at issues for just a hot second. And we installed 23H2, tested the Winutil on it. Works great, so if you want to update and you're a glutton for punishment, by all means, you still can, and de-bloat it afterwards because you saw the process count difference between before and after. Whew, that was big. But I think that's it. Man, that was great. And if you guys are popping in on streams during the week, I have been streaming almost daily, and I've been doing like EverQuest and stuff a lot. But I'll stream a lot more. I've been really getting more into streaming. I've really enjoyed it, so I'll probably play games. But you can always count on like technology streams Tuesday, Thursday. I still love jumping on here, and I always say it kind of keeps me honest because that forces me to look at Winutil, to look at some of my other repos that are on GitHub, because people come and chat and ask about it, and I love that. It's so great. What's the best Windows 11 release in your opinion? 21H1, 21H2, etc. Probably 21H2. Windows 11 on release, which I think was 21H1, was a little buggy. 21H2 seemed like they worked through some of the kinks and less of the problematic. So I'd say 21H2, the second release of Windows 11, is probably the best that we'll see, and it's probably all downhill from here. I still didn't like a lot of the releases, though. There wasn't like a 1703 from Windows 10 that I absolutely still love today. I wouldn't use 23 or 1703 because it's not really supported on almost anything, but it was one of my very favorite versions of Windows 10. So, it's just my thoughts. How could you use GitHub and Microsoft account instead? Yeah, that's what I do. Because if you look at mine, I have this, and you just sign in with GitHub instead of doing the Microsoft account. So that's what I use for my VS Code, and I highly recommend that. Like, I don't think you should use Microsoft account for anything, but some people love having their Microsoft account tied to like their browser, to their GitHub, to, well, I don't know, can you sign into GitHub with Microsoft account? I don't think that's integrated yet. It'll get there. And then obviously like VS Code and other things with the Microsoft account. I literally don't put any of my information on the Microsoft account. I just treat it like a compromised account that I'm forced to sign in on some Windows systems that I need Microsoft Store access to. So that's my thoughts on it. Why RoboForm? How about KeePass or Bitwarden? Yeah, Tish. 100% KeePass and Bitwarden. That's my recommendation. I've just been too lazy to move over to them yet. Yeah, but yeah, no, I highly recommend people getting off Microsoft account any chance you get. Yeah, in the Microsoft account, the only reason you still kind of need it is for the Microsoft Store. There's going to be times you're going to want to sign in and use it. Like Minecraft, I think, relies on a Microsoft account. There's a couple little gotchas. I think Visual Studio Community, I think, also needs a Microsoft account. Or maybe it uses GitHub. I don't know. One of the two. But it just depends. From a noob looking in, what's the reason for anti-MS? Is it purely from a privacy standpoint? No, I mean, it's more for... I mean, there's some privacy there with telemetry, Sparta. It's a good question. But more often than not, you'd like to minimize your exposure for... I'm trying to think of a good way to put this. You want to minimize your exposure for certain tasks. So like all my programming stuff, I know will be on my GitHub. And my GitHub account is still Microsoft. So I'm not really, from a privacy standpoint, using a Microsoft account or a GitHub. There's not much difference between the two. I just like that separation. And the fact that you kind of are doxing yourself, especially if you're doing screen recording like me, every time I open up my settings, you can see what email my Microsoft account is. Hell, it's right here. So if I go here and I just type settings, where I could have just right-clicked, you can see my Microsoft account up here. I don't want to blur that out every time I do a video. So for me, I just treat my Microsoft account as like an account that's full of viruses, and I don't want to use it unless I absolutely have to. And that's why I have the separation for me personally, but also I don't really like everything being tied into one account. Same goes for Google too. Google has a lot of tie-ins to their stuff, and I have multiple Google accounts, and a lot of that's compartmentalized. So if one gets compromised, I'm not completely boned. And that's why I like to kind of compartmentalize a lot of my accounts to where I don't have one account that's in control of everything. Nova OS, the theme is really clean. Yeah, just steal the theme. Hey, it's the Nord themes. That's the same wallpapers as I got. That is clean. What'd you say, that XFCE? Oh no, it's Cinnamon. Oh, okay. I like Cinnamon. Very, very noob friendly too. Would you say using an MS account on Linux would be better for this reason? I always use just GitHub. I don't ever sign into my Microsoft account on Linux because I don't really like a lot of integration. That's cool. That's a cool theme, though. I love that you can just grab. Does it have the theme here? These are all just PNGs. Oh, this is their GitHub repo, but they don't have anything but the ISO. You can grab the wallpapers. Check out the standalone theme here in icon pack. Oh, okay. So if you wanted this theme, you could just grab the NordOS theme from there, which is README, GTK. Get the icon pack as well. If we look, yeah, here's all the assets. That looks like you just drop all that into your .config home folder, install Cinnamon, point to this theme, and Bob's your uncle. Good stuff. All right, y'all. Well, I'm going to shut it down for today. The kids are going to go, well, I mean, they're not really kids anymore. My son's 20 and my daughter's a teenager. So they're not really trick-or-treating. I think my daughter is going trick-or-treating. I feel old. But we are going over to a friend's house, so I'm going to start gearing up for that. And I hope you all have a great, happy Halloween. I'll definitely be streaming more over here, so definitely check me out on Twitch if you want to catch any of the live streams. It's always fun. If you don't, I'll chop all these up where I remove all the silent bits, and we do a nice little overlay. So if you want to rewatch any of these streams, over on Titus Tech Talk is how you find me. If you missed anything from the stream or you want to catch something fun, I usually upload these usually about 5 to 6 days after, just because it takes a long time to edit all those down, and I have a certain workflow to go through to make them all really watchable afterwards, which is great. So happy Halloween. Have a great one. Be safe out there if you're going out, and I'll see you in the next one.